like LPL Kiana, this thing coming into the tournament, okay, it's banned already.
First thing on KT's mind.
Yeah,
Here,
okay.
yes.
I mean, coming into the tournament, the LPL was way more feared on this champion than any other region. And so for good reason, I feel like a lot of other teams are going to have to do that and ban it versus LPL teams because they just have so many junglers that are actually good at it. Kanavi here, such a big carry force. Meanwhile, KT have done the same carries in their comps both times. One is Orianna, which TES have banned. The other is Caitlyn. They have done back-to-back Caitlyn comps here for deokdam, and deokdam talked about it in his interview after their series as well, and he talked about their strategy with Caitlyn did revolve more around their late-game usage of it and sieging. And I mean, it does make a bit of sense with KT having a bit rough early games, but they do leave the Caitlyn open in favor of banning the Ryze, which every mid laner has kind of jumped on at this tournament. So we'll see if KT end up doing another Caitlyn comp in game number 1. Don't have to rush into it, of course, because it is a best of 3, and they're going to take away the Wukong first.
Yeah, Wukong, of course, that strong team fighting pick. If they do suffer a little bit in the early game, Wukong can still be that relevant threat in the team fights. Now, interestingly, Top Esports not falling for the community perception. They're still committed to the Jarvan would appear. Of course, it is a best of 3. The first taste of Fearless we get in Swiss. So again, as you highlighted, it's not the end of the world if the Jarvan does fall down, but you have really excellent engage, and with an early pick like the Neeko, you don't guarantee lane priority, but it does set you up for success in that bot lane 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I love this combination. I do think a lot of the Jarvan, failures, there have been a lot of like user error with some of those Jarvans. So
I see. Get good is the problem. Yes.
Well, yeah, not all of them, some of them. Neeko, though, with Jarvan is such a good jungle and support combo. Massive amounts of engage, really good sneak plays where both of them can really play vision games and come up with huge jungle and support synergy. But let's take a look at the other side. They take away the Rumble, which is a classic combination you do pair with the Jarvan for that AoE. So it looks like we're just going to have both teams with big team fighting, big AoE here, Dracos.
Yeah, and it looks like the pick and ban overlay is not updating, but an Aurora has been locked in the mid lane for BDD. We'll update that for you as soon as we can. In the meantime, you'll have to settle for us describing it. It's Aurora. She's a bunny lady. And team fighting seems to be the name of the game. Honestly, for both sides, Kai'Sa, a pick that if they do opt to lock in here, can be vulnerable in the laning phase, but we've seen really easy way to play the mid game, playing for those picks on side. And KT, every single pick they've brought to the table, excellent in those big 5v5 fist fights.
Yeah, and I love the Kai'Sa when we do see all these CC heavy comps that are looking to dive on priority targets. Neeko and Jarvan set up for that very nicely. You can go in for the executes. So let's take a look. Do they want to even ban out like Galio and Ornn here since the early Rumble pick? Those are kind of the really frequent answers that you see into that on top side. So KT, they have the opportunity to take away some of these options from 369, who has been very good so far this tournament. And there's one of those two options, the Ornn down at least.
See what they want to do here. Of course, we always have to have in the back of our mind, the Viper swap, that top lane swap up. I think originally popular in the LPL, but Viper was the first big name player to kind of pull it out on HLE. So see if they do want to optimize some of those bot lane 2v2s and top lane matchups by moving an AD carry around. But with the Rumble locked in, Ornn now banned away, KT doing what they can to shape that top lane matchup for Perfect. A guy who gets a lot of flack. Sometimes, it's underperformance, he's not up to par. Sometimes I think it's because they leave this man on an island. We'll see what the situation ends up being as the Alistar now banned away, really trying to take away that immediate follow-up or immediate engage tool to go alongside this Wukong and Rumble.
Yeah, and he's good engage, and also a headbutt is annoying for Neeko.
Yes.
Because there are multiple ways where Alistar can try and like mark a Neeko and keep the Neeko engages out. So Alistar can be problematic in kind of defensive and offensive ways. So that is a very good ban. And as you say, double tank bans versus 369, so he might just be fine locking in something else, but they are red side, so they could save him for, I mean, they are already playing into Rumble, so yeah, I guess they're going to show it early.
Reminder, if you are just joining us, bit of a graphical issue. We do have Aurora locked in, most likely almost 100% guaranteed headed into the mid lane for BDD. Now we're rounding out the rest of the composition with the Nautilus and the Corki. Corki, very conventional answer into the Kai'Sa. Doesn't always see the most success in Western regions. People aren't able to shut that pick down, but this is a champion who can make Kai'Sa's life so miserable in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, plus it has a dash, and that is very critical when you're looking at Jarvan, Neeko, Kai'Sa comps here with Annie as well. So you definitely want some mobility on your carry there, and the Corki is going to fill that role. So there's the Ambessa that was hovered previously. Definitely has been a good champ here at 4-3-6-9. The answer into the Rumble. Dracos, I mean, this one is just looking to be an absolute bloodbath already. Huge engage from both sides.
And I'm nervous for KT, if I'm honest. They had such excellent scaling options you highlighted before. They've just played Orianna Caitlyn in the 2 games that we've seen before. They did scale up. They were able to execute in those team fights, absorbing that engage. This is a very different composition. Of course, we've seen stuff like this domestically, but top esports in the early game are a force to be reckoned with, and team fights can fall apart quickly if you fall behind against something like a Kai'Sa.
Nervousness is a very similar feeling to excitement as well, so that's also dangerous. All right, let's get into it though. Game number 1 here in the 2-0 bracket. Dracos, this is just a celebration, series. Somebody gets to move on, and even if you lose, you have more chances.
100%, we're flying high. If you hear us today, we'll drop, we'll talk about the history of these teams, but there's no do or die today for either of these lineups. It's just the elation of getting out early, being able to watch the rest of the competition, scrim whoever you want. It's an excellent spot to be for one of these teams. Of course, only one can make it. Someone's going to need to fight a little bit harder as we get deeper into the further rounds of Swiss. But for now, loading onto the Rift. Again, team fights, the name of the game. The Corki not coming through from the side of KT means we expect them to have some control of the bottom side. Neeko might put a stop to that, and always prepared for a potential lane swap. You love them or hate them. They're pretty good strategically. Always a potential option.
Some very interesting signs in the audience as well. Let's get on to the ref. So one of the big topics here between these two teams especially is the difference in early games. KT has not had very powerful early games, have definitely been a bit slow, and deokdam even was talking about that in his interview as well. And so going up against TES, who is one of our teams that have had the best early games, it's one of the reasons why Kanavi and TES have been so heavily lauded. Really has done a very good job. It has been really well planned as well as executed from them, both here as well as in the LPL.
And I think it's important that we'd like to crack jokes a lot when it comes to this team, but don't let the memes and the history distract you from how lethal this team really is, right? Good reason that they were able to make it here. Good reason why they were in the finals of the LPL. And Creme, of course, on this utility champion. Annie falling down in prio, obviously nerfed a ton over the last few patches, adjusted here and there, but still can be that lethal engage option as deokdam and Peter zoned away from the wave early on, but Frost Bomb does mean that deokdam's at least able to get some of this CS.
Yeah, early brush ward for TES though, gonna help them out a decent amount here with the range versus melee support matchup, trying to work around the outside.
The slow race for level 2, the trades of autos.
TES have to push, so you have to be cognizant of the level 2 coming in. They are, just back off. Nobody in any danger range just quite yet. And it is interesting with Kanavi pathing up towards top side, not down towards the bottom side. JackeyLove going to do the tri-brush ward first because of that, but Wukong, of course, is one of the slippery junglers that can wrap around, and going towards a Nautilus lane always does have the possibilities of Cuzz making an early visit, and Nautilus having some good setup for him in lane to try and burn summoner spells.
Definitely a good spot to be in. Of course, double range makes it hard, as you highlighted, for KT to get the push, but a gank from Wukong, a gank from Cuzz can change that very quickly. Jungle, we're looking at it a lot, right? Cuzz and Kanavi. Cuzz, in that series, in the crucial series versus Gen.G, this man was a demon, completely outplayed Canyon.
Truly.
KT fans want to see that same form, but to be honest with you, it hasn't been there. Whereas for Kanavi, still looking like a beast, still looking terrifying. Look at that K+A at 14. Cuzz is a little quiet.
We did talk about the difference in the early games. Yeah, 0 kills and assists pre-14 minutes there. Meanwhile, Kanavi, an absolute terror in the early game and all game, actually. And Kanavi in the regular season of LPL, getting that first team all-pro really has been quite the engine for this team. A lot of carry champions for him, and he's the one piloting the Jarvan. So, Daniel, do you believe in Kanavi to get the first win on the board for a Jarvan?
Yeah, I do, because it looks like he's going to get the first kill in this game. Caster blessed, caster cursed, I'm not sure what to say, but a clean play, good setup from Creme. Kanavi, very easy for him to snag that one.
I'm telling you, a lot of the Jarvans have been user error. You go to the Annie lane, you get the stun, easy follow-up.
Flag, and then you drag. I got it. Yes, user error, of course.
At first you stun, you know.
That's a good way to start.
It is worth mentioning, Creme invested the flash to do that. You know, it's a wise investment, but you're always then looking, can that be punished? Annie is a champion in mid lane that I've seen a lot of play, and a lot of people do like to go then attack the Annie and try and make you pay for that a little bit, because your shield is good. You know, the shield move speed is nice, but it is not going to get you out of a lot of other situations, and having no flash now, Creme's going to have to be a little bit more worried. That's why Peter comes through, clears out some of that vision around mid lane, and they'll see what they can do about it.
And I think the frustrating thing about this for both BDD and Cuzz is the gank is so fast, it really costs Kanavi almost none of his time. So he's still on par in jungle clear. There's not really a cross-map play or anything else to get back. It is just that gold deficit in the mid lane for BDD. And yeah, that window of opportunity you talked about to capitalize on a flash miss thing, but Cuzz hasn't found an avenue to go through mid yet, is now moving down to the rafters, but Kanavi might just spot him.
And Kanavi did walk over that ward in the banana brush, so you see BDD, good positioning. You know, he positions to the upward side of the lane.
Creme again, no flash. Kanavi happy to just zone away. I was not sure how committed he was going to be to auto-attacking the Aurora to death, but zoning BDD out, making Creme's life a little bit easier.
Yeah, BDD loses experience on some of those minions that are dying up by the tower. So even though you're not, you know, actually taking him down or burning his flash, it still is a gank worth going for. Pushes him out, a little bit of damage on the Aurora, make him miss a couple of minions.
And he doesn't hit the bear, crucially. BDD able to move away without even burning the flash.
Or did he just not have the stun? I think the damage goes through.
Damage went in. You're probably right, given that he does have 3 stacks ready to go. Either way, you get what you want out of the Tibbers again. If you, for some reason, haven't seen Annie, which would be crazy, she uses the bear, she pushes the wave. That's as simple as it gets. As Peter, the heal now coming up from JackeyLove and Hong. Looking for a chase down, looking to get control of the lane. Full mid-prio coming in for Creme, courtesy of the summon Tibbers, means that this Drake should be easy pickings for Kanavi.
Yeah, TES, another good early game for them. Kanavi grabbing Scuttle Crab first. It looks like BDD with his reset. I honestly would bot side push too. Maybe they, okay, they're just going to look for level 6 on Kanavi first maybe.
And this is an incredibly comfortable early game for TES. We did expect them to be a little bit more powerful in terms of, you know, on paper what they'd be able to bring, but setting themselves up for success with this Jarvan pick, finding those early ganks. Cuzz might be able to counter jungle a bit here on the top side, but of course difference in timer between the Grubs and the Dragon these days means there's not an easy objective for him to take back in response.
Yeah. Krugs for Dragon is a very good trade for TES, and 369's full HP, so they're not even worried about any sort of topside, you know, dive or play up there in response from KT. Of course, Wukong also, you really want that level 6, so Cuzz trying to squeeze out as much experience as he possibly can. Does have his flash ready. Maybe he will be able to get in there once he has level 6 and can go for a flash play, but Annie's cooldown here for flash for Creme. Only has, you know, about 80 seconds left on it. So still a little bit of time where he has to be fairly safe, but not too worried.
Definitely looking comfortable. No action after the initial kill. Drake really the only big tangible advantage that TES have held onto. Outside of Prio on the bottom side, another use of the summon Tibbers, this time not connecting. Again, BDD spacing really well in this matchup. Input buffering on the weirding to jump backwards to make sure that the follow-up damage from Annie isn't there. And while the pressure is going in favor of TES, BDD seems relatively unfazed in the 1v1.
Yeah, support roam timers are resulting in a little bit of movement over here towards the Void Grubs as well. Looks like Cuzz wants to grab one before Kanavi arrives, and he does have Smite, so Smite bite.
Going in, Cuzz grabbing the initial. Now immediately going to clone out, but Creme is on the way, just forced to flash. Fear of the point-and-click CC coming in from Creme. Stopping Cuzz from getting anything else. Really wanted that cheeky steal, but it just does not work out.
Yeah, okay, and that's going to be a full rotation. So look at the cost for this play. TS, full 5 members at Grubs means that Corki down here is actually getting the minions all the way up to the tower. So turret plate for deokdam, and some minions going down to the tower as well is your little bit of payment. Still good for TS though, in my opinion. Grabbing up those Grubs.
Get the flash. Give up a single grub for it, but still hold on to the true grub buff. Still feeling comfortable as the lane swap has come out. Following that, getting pressure on the top side. Perfect forced to use the equalizer to clear the wave. 369, bit of a struggle to try and approach this tower. Will immediately ult onto deokdam, though. Good damage. Just wants to make sure that he has access to the wave.
A lot of deep vision here for KT as well behind this side, so they might actually go for a repeat play on 369. I mean, Kanavi's on the top side, so Cuzz kind of has a free route to go pressure 369, who, even without your ultimate, he still has flash and is Ambessa very mobile, and they're making the good call here, just communicating. I know, I'm on weak side, I'll back up. So 369 was able to get some experience from those previous minions that were dying, but not the rest of them, and the race for the tower
has begun. Grub advantage, but of course the mid lane is the immediate 1v1. Across the Veil used just for a bit of extra damage onto Creme. Creme forced out of lane, but top lane left isolated. Perfect doesn't even bother to approach, so it's tower for tower trade, but first tower does go to the side of KT.
All right, rushing down the first turret for them towards Feats of Warfare. Continuing on the push. Seems like it's just going to be caught by each of the solo laners here. 369 gets this one. And BDD should be able to catch the opposite side for KT.
One of the first games we've had in the tournament, I feel like, where teams are so content to just handshake these objectives, trading sides of the map.
Yeah, right out of Champ Select, we're like, all right, it's coming down to these big team fights.
It's going to be a fist fight.
Yeah, we've got huge team fights ahead of us, though, Dracos, because both of them have so many weapons, and I want to see if
there's an imposter in the mid lane. That was not a very effective imposter.
Good awareness here from Peter and deokdam. Able to avoid. Now, no Neeko ultimate does make it less explosive, these team fights that I'm trying to hype up.
Yeah.
Like, all right, there's no Annie ultimate and there's no Neeko ultimate. Does make it a little bit more difficult to pull that off. But as of now, yeah, they have, for the most part, been content to trade.
It's interesting, of course, for the side of TES, Kanavi getting that initial kill means he's ahead in terms of overall gold. Does have the Sunder Sky, right? We know how powerful he can be in those skirmishes. No one else really with a major completed item quite yet, although we are getting very close. Creme and BDD continue to match up on the top side of the map, but this can be tricky for Creme. He does have to be careful not to overstep. Aurora, a lot more mobility, a lot more catch tools with the support of a jungler to chase down, but Kanavi is here to shadow, here to cover. Control ward gives them perfect information as to where Cuzz is, and Kanavi wants to kick this one off. Creme looking for the follow-up. BDD ready to go. Weirding doesn't connect. Creme trying to find the angle to get the CC down. Trapped in. Dashed out from Cuzz, but just a dash to his death. Creme with a nice kill.
This is the featured matchup for a reason. Kanavi finds Cuzz. Kanavi takes him down with the help of Creme. Another flash invested, so you can try and make the same thing where like, oh, well, maybe you can punish Annie later. But TES here, very smooth operators in the early game. I mean, it just feels like they have been so controlled and just executed so effortlessly in all of their games here. This is going to turn into the dragon. They should be able to burn it down.
Second Drake, perfect coming in. KT, hard to play for exit kills. They just don't have enough members in the area. Of course, Cuzz just now respawning, which was what made taking that Drake such an easy decision. And I will say, credits to TES. They open with the Neeko. They get lane prio, even in a Kai'Sa versus Corki matchup, which can often be tricky. And now we're at a point in the game where JackeyLove got his own skin, got one item. You're feeling pretty good about having this Kai'Sa on the lineup with so many effective dive threats.
Yeah, let's see if they can defend the blue buff here, because that one's getting taken away pretty quick. Looks like Kanavi, as long as you can get your own Gromp, not the end of the world here.
This is, of course, KT's response to the Drake, knowing that TES likely have to reset. 369 really starting to hurt. Does now have that first completed item. Awkward bit of timing here for Perfect. Hasn't been able to back to get that item himself.
And everybody really matched there, so both supports were kind of hanging around, shadowing the plays, waiting to see if anyone was going to overcommit. But again, in the opening game of this series, nobody taking too big of a risk yet.
You can see there, JackeyLove, without Hung in the area, does have to back off a bit. Creme still confident to step forward. We got first item completions. We're going to have to wait a while for the next objective, unfortunately, which I think will be the big catalyst for potentially our first team fight of the game.
And for the KT enjoyers, you know, they really have been looking towards mid-game and late-game team fights, you know, as their way into, whoa.
Bit of a catch. Blast cone means not much is going to happen.
But yeah, they really have been looking a lot towards mid and late game team fights, and so Now moving in vision on the other side as well.
Cuzz finds Kanavi, the first damage from deokdam. Doing a lot of work there with that Triforce, but Kanavi is able to walk away.
Yeah, that is double Triforce burst action right there. That could get spicy very quickly. So Kanavi has to flash, forced away instantly here, but nobody goes down. So we continue fairly close pace, and the decider are going to be these team fights. TES stacking up the dragons. Wait.
JackeyLove on the bottom side, BDD trying to get away, but he's already marked up. Nice initial escape across the veil, comes out. JackeyLove getting lower. Oh, but the Neeko's on the way, trying to catch all possible options. Nice footwork from BDD. One more second, does he have enough to get out? No, he does not. 369 brings down the hammer and takes him out on the top side. It's a split play. Kanavi, they know he has no flash, he's easy pickings, but Creme wants to try and turn it back. He summons the bear, but the redemption is there, and there's nothing left for TES.
Nice counterplay from KT. Both teams making plays, opposite side of the map. The TES play is going to result in bot tower, but KT are answering, pushing mid. They'll get their tower answer there, and they got their kill answer onto Kanavi, capitalizing on the previously blown flash. Going blow for blow here, Daniel.
And super important that they're able to do so, right? Because it felt like they were just starting to fall behind, but this is giving them that bit of momentum, giving them that control on the top side, now leading to the Herald. Clone there for Hunk to spot out Creme, but we know he doesn't have access to the bear or the flash, so KT feel pretty comfortable to just take this. They lose mid in the process as well, so KT really swinging things back into their favor. Kanavi not even gonna go for it. I think a good shout overall as Cuzz is gonna grab the Herald. Potential for KT now to leverage that to get some more prio elsewhere on the map.
All right, still kind of trading sides here as far as information goes. And the long lane on the bottom side, Hung is just gonna go be the battle ward, the person ward, to get vision for 369. Here's a look at how they softened up BDD, and you already see on the minimap, you notice Jackie coming down. You also notice Hong coming down. And so even though they don't get Jackie here, BDD did force his barrier. BDD then flashed though, and dodge as many times as you want, but you're not gonna escape Ambessa.
Yeah, you got 4 seconds till those cooldowns are back up, and then you're cooked. And Kanavi cooked as well, right? Know that he has no flash, trying to get some vision back, seeing the play on bottom side, but does cost him his life.
Yeah, and so these flashes that have been invested from both sides for each team, those are going to be an area to look out for the big team fight that actually does happen, but Perfect's going to be without his. Same thing, obviously, for Kanavi and BDD. So neither solo laner or KT going to have that extra option. It's going to be a little bit dangerous, honestly, in their approach. For TES, which, by the way, I think the overlay is a little bugged, doesn't show the other dragon. They have 2 dragons. They have Cloud as well.
Cloud and the Chemtech.
So for TES, of course, they're going to have the extra emphasis on coming down here to stack up. But KT, good early positioning. They get the vision set up preemptively.
TPing mid to make sure that they get this push out first. Showing force here. Of course, BDD not in the area. Doesn't have the flash, as you highlighted before, but does have access to the teleport. KT very grouped up, though. They don't have any way to flank at the moment. Could see a TP coming in from bottom wave. Instead, it's just a full 5-man stack in the face of TES. Eyes on Kanavi and Creme. That's the big AoE damage. The flash fill for Hung as well.
Battle Herald summoned in the middle.
Ready to ride away in a blaze of glory. Hung gonna get things kicked off. Only managed to catch Cuzz, and he just turns right back and starts free firing. Kanavi cut out the southern sky, doesn't do a damn thing. TES, though, fighting back. Creme burned down on the side by Perfect. TES holding the line. It's an absolute bloodbath around the Drake, and it looks like they might be able to grab it in the end. They've taken the Hextech Drake. deokdam running. BDD in the back lines. JackeyLove taken down. It's a double kill for Perfect.
And KT destroy them in the team fight. TS, they do get the dragon. They get the objective, but KT, clearly, they're playing for the team fight here. They summon the Herald first. Look at this engage and how it quickly gets stuffed. Hung goes in. He blasted for it. Immediately annihilated on the Rumble ultimate, and Cuzz just bursts him down. Then you look at the other side where they did get the anti-engage, but they didn't critically finish off BDD, and then Perfect just chases down the anti. So KT, full numbers advantage. Even though Jackie and 369 are able to finish off the dragon with no smite, they lose most of their members in the process.
And credit to KT playing with slivers of life for the back health of that team fight. But even without the Caitlyn and the Orianna, they're showing us a lot of what we saw in their first 2 matches. Absorbing the initial gauge, splitting up this big wombo composition, and then playing cleanup in the fight. The way Cuzz isolated Kanavi so he could not do anything was fantastic.
Nice stuff there from KT in the team fighting. See if they can continue to progress this, because it does make it a little dangerous. You know, you always get nervous when enemy team is on soul point. You have to worry about every 5-minute timer. Every 5-minute timer is going to cause a spike of excitement.
Yeah, and we do have a situation here where while both teams have excellent team fighting tools, I'm looking at JackeyLove, I'm looking at that ultimate, the potential to collapse on a flank, for one member of KT to slip up and go down around one of those timings can make contesting this objective impossible. You highlighted it, 3 minutes until the soul on the line, but also 50 seconds till Otacon on the top side. Creme already trying to set up. KT knowing they don't have a huge window to reset, but will need to be in the area.
Or if Cuzz just steals one. Cuzz is good at stealing objectives, and he's got a Trinity Force Q on Wukong that is a decent amount of burst damage. So if Cuzz could just steal one dragon on one timer.
We were really excited about the Jarvan. We said, is Jarvan going to be good? He immediately got a kill. But Cuzz is making an argument that I think Wukong probably should still be above in the tier list.
Wukong is very, very good, especially in the team fights. But yeah, so got to worry about stealing objectives. Got to worry about setting up for them preemptively as well. And right now, KT getting a lot of topside vision for the Otacon arrival.
And while you can see 369 is uncontested in his bot side push, someone will eventually have to respond to that. Mid prio going
they're going to pull it immediately.
KT just going to try to pull the trigger, make the fast play happen. Kanavi moving in, control ward's matched. They don't have perfect information here, but they generally know that it's going on. Vision coming in from the standard probably gives them all that they need to know. Hung here as well. Recall coming in from 369, but if he TPs in, is it going to be fast enough? 6K getting lower. KT backing off, going to play to punish the TP instead. Looking to delete 369, unstoppable for a brief moment, dashing out to safety now. Ulti coming in from Creme. It's a bloodbath as Otacon remains in the mix, but it's a beautiful equalizer across the lineup. Hung tries to fire back. Across the veil comes BDD, bouncing to the other side, looking to finish up TES. JackeyLove the barrier, keeping him standing. His Peter goes a little bit too far, and 369 is happy to punish.
Oh, BDD!
Dash back, Weirding keeping him safe. Kanavi ready to cover. KT, are they confident enough to stay on the objective? Yes, they are. They're unconcerned. So many of the ultis missing. They know they can finish this one up, but it's the steal you mentioned, Kobe. Kanavi the hope. JackeyLove here as well. deokdam zoning him out. 5K getting lower, but 369 now has access. Their resistance is getting shredded by the Otacon, but deokdam full health. Zoning with the rockets, the boss bombs. KT will take the Otacon.
Kanavi's too low. deokdam did a great job bursting him and pushing him out there so they can secure this Otacon without the threat of the smite fight. KT come up big in another team fight, and they're waiting for the arrival of 369. 369, though, really good job. He was able to immediately go for the engage himself, use his ultimate, go unstoppable, but the counter is so big. Creme gets annihilated by Perfect, and they're able to chase through on the outside.
And Creme, of course, tries to catch Cuzz, hits the Wukong clone, isn't able to have that effect. We know how it should work. Jarvan puts him in a circle, everyone pushes their buttons, but KT are splitting up the fight so nicely, collapsing on 369, but not staying clumped to leave themselves vulnerable to this TES composition. Gold, super close. Otacon to KT, but it is still sole point for the side of TES, and they're the ones with members in the river. They're the ones with setup on the bottom side.
Yep, TES have not been able to catch their targets on the engage quite as they planned. Now, though, KT returning yet again to the Dragon area 20 seconds before the arrival of this particular Dragon Soul opportunity.
KT very grouped. Creme, no flash, but it's coming up now. 369 doesn't have access to his. JackeyLove will have the summoner available. deokdam's going to need to wait a bit longer, but BDD. Perfect, not going to have access to a crucial summoner spell, but maybe Cuzz with flash is enough.
I will note, too, 369 did a good job pushing bottom lane, so they've got the full opportunity to wrap around here. BDD's watching the flank, though.
Crucial not to let 369 get onto that back line. Peter going in with the Hex Flash, immediate follow-up. He just gets burned to death by the Equalizer. Hung with the counter engage, but again, the follow-up damage is not there. TES split apart and divided. They fall at the soul. The perfect secure coming in from Cuzz just in time. JackeyLove running, flashing, will barely survive, but the soul will not go to TES.
Yeah, soul denied. KT, can they chase anything else down? Doesn't.
Catch out. The public execution, but for who? 369 turning back now. Cuzz burned down. BDD might be in trouble. JackeyLove still sticking around, but deokdam happy to just jump in, riding the Corgi off into the night. JackeyLove wants to turn it with the barrier, but it's just not happening. Creme trying to prep the stun. It's ready to go, but he's just waddling out.
Yeah, BDD's got this.
Left. Slow down, the big one. The triple for deokdam. KT coming alive in the late game.
deokdam with the big damn here coming through. Corki is pumping. All right, let's take a look at this one. Once again, you mentioned it. Peter goes in, and look at that. They delete the Jarvan. Perfect has had really good Rumble ults, by the way. I mean, you talked about earlier, Perfect sometimes gets some flack, but man, he has had some really good Rumble ultimates for their team fights, and they annihilate. So JackeyLove does get the kill on the outside, and it's just 2 for 2 right now. So this re-engage, the choice of TES and 369 to go in onto Cuzz, flash from Creme to make sure they can get the kill, but that was an offensive flash, and then 369 also ends up flashing. So they invested 2 to get that. deokdam's like, okay, I'm gonna finish this one. And as a result, in all 3 of their deaths, all of this extra gold into the KT carries, with the big one coming through from deokdam. And KT, they have just flipped that mid-game switch, team fight after team fight after team fight, and now they're looking unstoppable.
And again, they just play so well around these big ultimates, these big cooldowns, forcing the engage, trying to take Kanavi out of the equation as quickly as they can, not giving Creme an angle to hit that multi-man Tibbers that will always be a threat to just turn the game on its head. And the person suffering the most from this is JackeyLove. He's never had a moment where he can ult in like a hero, clean up these fights, lay down the Acathian Rain. It just isn't happening because there's never a clear moment for him to go in. And in the meantime, deokdam, as you said, pumping. Baron on the line now. Big moment of contention. Kanavi, is it going to be an angle for a steal? Do TES even feel confident in that full-on 5v5? Because even though the gold has been close, for the entirety of the mid-game, they've never had the angle in these fights.
Truly, KT. All right, the setup again, good from KT. They black out the vision. They try and punish Kanavi, a little chunk, but he gets out this time.
Exhaust down. Could matter a lot if JackeyLove is able to find access to the backline, but only on 2.5 items to the 3 of deokdam, so it won't be the end of the world. BDD, presumably at some point will finish a full second item. Maybe hasn't had a chance to back quite yet. As Creme throws down the bear, but it's not doing a whole hell of a lot. Cuzz happy to essentially just grab a solo kill. Perfect. And deokdam there to spectate.
Nice job. Perfect soaking the cooldowns. And he uses everything, and that opens up a nice, easy dive for Cuzz, knowing there is no more threat. And so he goes to collect, and KT, now they can really open up the actual gold lead, because they had won fight after fight after fight, but those fights were very necessary, Dracos, because they have been down 3 dragons the majority of the game. Now they've got, you know, the one for themselves, so they're only -2 on them, but they have to keep winning dragon fights. They have to keep on winning and trying to actually open up the gold lead for themselves.
Definitely. You cannot afford to let the soul get away from you. Would be terrifying to deal with. 369, the sole member of this TES lineup, did grab that kill onto Cuzz in the previous exchange around the bottom side, so holds on to a gold lead of his own. Maybe he's going to be able to find that backline access, but it is just so hard when KT have been the ones with better setup, ones to pull the trigger first very often, or absorb some of these fumble engage from TES. Still time, though. We talked about it, right? All it takes is one big anti-stun, one mysterious minion.
Oh.
That was not it. That is the second one that's gone completely awry. KT happy to turn it back. Peter finding the multi-man knockup. BDD to finish that initial kill off. Now starting the chase. Excellent equalizer from Perfect. Living up to his namesake as TES are sent packing in the mid lane.
deokdam has been so good. You are not catching him sleeping. He is locked in. Come for me again with these Neeko ults, my friend. You're not going to catch me.
But this speaks to the desperation of TES. That's the second time they've tried that play. He's gotten away both times. It's dangerous to look at a play like that and say, this time it will be different. KT, eyes locked on this Baron, however, no one waiting over the wall to try and zone Kanavi quite yet, but BDD inbound. Peter chasing it. deokdam's out for blood. Creme waiting to fire back with Annie. Cuzz is the only one left in the pit. It's 369 to the back line. He's the strong member of the team trying to finish off Peter. JackeyLove finding the angle to deokdam. That's going to be big. The plasma stacks finally popping. BDD, though, chasing him down. Going to finish that one off. It's a double kill for Cuzz. Hung the last man left standing, and he's going to be quick to fall. KT again taking the fight.
Cuzz is even going to kill the ward while they're finishing off the enemy support there. This should be KT denying another soul, grabbing another dragon. Team fight after team fight after team fight, they come out ahead. This time, it is 369 and JackeyLove actually assassinating the Corki, but everybody else had already taken so much damage. that then they were deep in enemy lines, and they go down as well. So KT, another victorious team fight. Here's the opener where they burst down Jackie. It's BDD around over this control ward. Huge burst onto Jackie. So then by the time that 369 goes in and ults on him, Jackie goes in to answer as well, and he can actually finish off the Corki, but he's already chunked down to half health, and they already killed the front line. The rest of KT are able to finish the job.
Yeah. And you can see, again, the slight difference in the compositions. They're all happy to throw down ultimates, to play these fights based around their ultimates. But in the extended fights, the Rumble, the Aurora, the Wukong are so much more powerful, whereas this Annie and Jarvan really is that shotgun. The Neeko alongside it, if you hit those multi-man ultimates together, you can see the path for TES to win a fight, but it just has not been happening. So another 4 minutes where KT don't have to be concerned about that soul, slowly getting closer to it themselves, and in a pretty nice position for them around Baron as soon as they're able to push out these lanes.
So I still think Jarvan is a fine champion. You know, kit's good, good engage, lots of early game options, but maybe he's cursed.
I like that. It feels appropriate.
I'm willing to
in
entertain curses.
There's a lot of sports superstition surrounding this particular matchup, so it feels like an appropriate place to have that discussion.
Because it's looking like he's headed towards 0-9 at the tournament.
If Kanavi cannot win with Jarvan, surely no one should be playing Jarvan. That would be my opinion.
Anyway, we'll revisit this later.
We could be wrong.
This is just, you know, broaching the topic here of possible superstition
it's like it's an intervention for the meta. You know, there's never really a right time. Sometimes you just got to have the hard conversation. Cuzz. Nice backstep coming in. Hung going to be initially caught out. 369 retreating. Redemption coming down from the sky. And Cuzz still happy to keep chasing forward. TES zoned away from the pit, but here comes BDD as well. Creme instant flash out. Kanavi going to be caught up by the ultimate coming in from Nautilus, and down he goes. BDD on a rampage.
This team fight is just seamless from KT. Again, another really good Rumble ultimate here from Perfect. Right when Cuzz goes in on the Wukong, they delete their target just like that. It's 5v3 for KT. They can take Baron and they can defend mid.
Really comfortable in this game. 369 trying to cut the wave, and they actually want to get this fight kicked off. Creme coming in very slowly. Doesn't have access to the flash, but 369.
369, kind of a one-man army right there. Him and JackeyLove now can move over towards Baron. Can they actually contest, though?
It's going to be tough. They have to expose themselves to the flank. 2 angles of attack potentially coming in for KT. Hung waiting over the wall. Access
is this
to the flash. The proto belt. Neeko ready to go, maybe to kick the fight off. Creme taken out in the blink of an eye, though. Oh, my God. 369, the last man left standing. Another double kill for deokdam. Pack it up, boys. KT not messing around.
Yeah, they get their Baron and some extra kills on top of it, Dracos. Now can they chase down a couple more? Hung is going to be able to snare, is going to be able to walk away this time around. But now it's KT wearing purple with a comfortable gold lead.
This is going to be a wild Red Bull Baron power play. It's going to transition beautifully into the next Drake. Soul point for the side of KT. TES again can play for that miracle steal, but I feel like we've been saying play for the steal for the last
I see Laura over there. She's got a really big
minutes.
smile. I don't know. She's like kind of jumping up and down. Calm down over there.
She's getting it. What did we talk? Put some money in the jar,
Calm
Lord.
down
We talked
over
about
there.
this.
All right, well, let's see them moving up through the jungle. KT take away red side jungle with the Baron buff. Easily take down this tower.
Okay, Kobe, we got a theory craft. If TES are going to make the comeback, is it just a steal? How can they do this? Because KT have been so oppressive, they've been better in the fights, and now they are just so far ahead.
Yeah, if you haven't won the last 5 team fights, then it becomes progressively worse each time because the other team is getting richer and richer and richer. And the other team has 2 Guardian Angels and 2 Zonias. And they have a Mikhails.
Yep. And a Redemption, which Hung obviously does not have.
All right,
Oh, that's the ulti. Initial burst damage coming out. Hung looking for the re-engage. BDD able to make it over the wall using the power of the ultimate. Kanavi living for an extra second, but it's not quite enough. Cuzz now unstoppable, going right over the wall. It's the 3-man. And we said it, Cuzz needed to step up, and he absolutely has in this game 1. Dominant performance on this Wukong. They're not going to wait for Soul. They don't even need it. KT, when you win all the team fights, you win the game. TES sent packing in this series.
Honestly, great performance from every KT member. Great coordination.
Fantastic stuff there. First blood in the series.